Welcome back to the FPL Duo. We're back for the Kneejerk stream for game week 10 and looking ahead to game week 11 as well. Been a bit of a mad weekend of results. A lot of things to talk about. A lot of, you know, as I said, big results. But yeah, how your weekend gone, Jordan?
Yeah, it's been going very good. And then there has been a few shocks, yes, this week that we have yet to discuss, especially the top teams. Very interesting results.
Yeah, a lot of things to talk about, I think, this week, and also a lot of things that in terms of FPL and what we do with our teams going into game week 11. So let's quickly recap our teams. So my game week pros and cons of my game week, a lot of positives, and there's also a couple of negatives of my team I'll come on to in a second. So in goal, I had Raya. Now, again, I don't think no one saw this one coming. Possibly, maybe, I didn't expect Arsenal to lose. I actually sort of predicted that they would get a draw. I did say I expected, possibly Arsenal to drop points in that one, and that's what happened. Isak scores a brilliant header, wipes a clean sheet for Arsenal. I thought Arsenal were quite poor, lacked creativity. Looked like they ran out of ideas in the end. So yeah, 3-pointer for Raya. I think he got 1 bonus points as well for a couple of saves he made. The Arsenal double up defense has not worked. So I went wildcard 6. I had a double up on Arsenal. Since then, I don't think they've kept a single clean sheet. So I am looking at potentially removing Raya or Gabriel, probably Raya from the team, but we'll come on to my transfer plans later. In the back three, again, pretty poor. Not a single clean sheet in the team. We know Arsenal lost 1-0 to Newcastle. Lewis, unfortunately, was benched, which probably doesn't come as a surprise to us. Now, there is always prep roulette, as we know. Lewis, I believe, played 17 minutes, so he was benched for Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker back from injury. I thought he had an absolute shocker. I thought he was terrible. Yeah, I think I was putting it kindly. I thought he struggled a lot. I think Lewis has to play going forward, and I think he will. I think Kyle Walker's firmly, past it, I think now, and Rico Lewis should be starting for Man City. So going forward, I expect him to start. And when he came on, he looked decent in parts. But yeah, Man City, again, another result I don't think anyone saw coming. 2-1 loss, Man City's first loss of the season. Yeah, we'll have a discussion on Man City and what we think of the assets going forward. But yeah, big loss again. 2 results a lot of us didn't see coming. Man City and Arsenal both losing in the same game week, and for Liverpool, obviously, it's a great sort of result. 8 Nuri. So I finally started playing him after my bench decision to bench him last week when he ended up scoring. However, he did concede this week. I think it was a 2-2 draw in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Against Crystal Palace. Now, again, just a blank, not really much to discuss. I didn't watch the game, so I don't know if he had any attacking threat in that one. But, he's someone I still like fixtures long term, so we'll see what he does going forward. Into the midfield. Now, as for those that saw the deadline stream, will have known I swapped from Haaland to Salah for the captaincy with 2 minutes to go. I think it was at like 10:58. I switched, and it paid off massively. Salah, obviously getting the goal for the fantastic goal from Liverpool. Liverpool struggled against Brighton first half, but second half, especially after the first hour, Liverpool struggled. But the last half an hour of the game, Liverpool sort of stepped it up. The crowd, I think, helped them get through it. And Salah scores a great goal on the left foot, puts it top corner, no chance for the goalie, comes away with the goal. I believe he also got 3 bonus points. 2 bonus points, I think it was for Salah. 9-pointer as a captain gets 18 points. And very happy that I went Salah captaincy because he sort of saved me from a red arrow, I believe. If I didn't have him a captain, I could have got a red. And Burma, we know, plays tomorrow night against Fulham. So we'll have to see how he gets on. Palmer, disappointing from him, I think. The talk about in chat, could he be a potential captaincy option? But again, very, very quiet. I thought similar to against Liverpool in the bigger games. He's not really, for me, done it compared to likes of Salah, who always seems to turn up in the bigger games. That's one thing to watch with Palmer in the bigger fixtures, whether we choose to captain him. Still feel like he needs to do a lot more, and I was disappointed with his performance. But he got the 1 point. I think he got one bonus. I don't know if that will get taken away or. At the moment, I think he's on. Yeah, sorry, he's on 2 points.
Take it away.
Yeah. He's on 2 points, Palmer. So a blank from him again. Slightly, disappointing from him. But again, it was a tougher game. It is at Old Trafford at the end of the day, and we always thought it could be a tight game, especially with Man United. We don't know what to expect from them with their new coach. Rodgers was a slight surprise in my team. I didn't expect Rodgers to really score. It was more of a hope that he would, and he ended up scoring, which was really nice. I believe he got the 9-pointer. Played 68 minutes, came off injured, which I think also negatively affected, because when he went off, I think it was still 1-1. Yeah, great goal from him, getting in the box. And yeah, very happy to get a return from him. We'll have to see how serious his injury is. I don't think it is that serious, but he could be ruled out for 11. But I was going to bench him anyway for next week against Liverpool. But yeah, very nice 9-pointer there. I'm glad I played him. Moving on to the forward line again. This is where it gets sort of bad for my team. No returns, a blank from all three strikers. Very annoyingly as well, as you see from the bench, I have Semenyo on the bench for a 10-pointer. Now looking back, maybe hindsight, I don't know what I was thinking playing Archer instead of Semenyo. But now, I don't know, maybe it's easy to say now because we didn't expect Bournemouth to beat Man City 2-1 and Semenyo scoring for a 10-pointer. Archer played Everton, so I thought, you know what, there's more chance of Archer scoring than maybe Semenyo. But going forward, I think definitely, even if Semenyo plays Liverpool or Arsenal, I'm just going to play him. I think you'd rather play the players that are just a better player, even though if they're playing a tougher game. I think that's what I've learned as well. Just play the better players, no matter what the fixtures are, because you never know. Yeah, so on the bench, Semenyo was the annoying one, 10-pointer. If I played him instead of Archer, then obviously would have been a better game week. But did very disappointed with the strikers. Calvert-Lewin, I think I've had enough of him. Harry as well says Calvert-Lewin can get in the bin. And took Solanke out on my free hit. So as everyone knows as well, I also took out Solanke for my team. Now Solanke went and done 2 goals and an assist. I think he ended up getting a 16-pointer. So he's the highest scoring player of the game week. So that's another sort of kick in the teeth that I took him out, and he ended up getting a big haul. However, it slightly made to feel better that I ended up getting Salah in for that money, and then I captained Salah as well. So not as annoyed about it, but longer term, I wouldn't mind Solanke back. But again, it's not something possible to have Salah, Haaland, Palmer, and then Solanke up front. So if I really want Solanke back, it's Haaland. I'll probably have to offload the team, which we'll come on to in a second. But yeah, I'm quite happy with the game week in general. Obviously, I would have liked to have Solanke for his haul, but if I was to have him, I wouldn't have captained him. So that would have been a 16-pointer. Salah got me 18. So yeah, in the end, it's not a bad game week. It's a green arrow. I didn't think I'd get a green so far, obviously, and I've still got Mbeumo left to play. So Mbeumo, I should get a green. And yeah, on the bench, Mikalenko blank as well as Fabianski. Now, 43, sorry, I think that's 42 points because obviously Palmer ended up getting the 2-pointer. I don't know what that means for my rank. Probably around the 2 million mark, which seems to be stuck on. I can't get above 2 million this season. I think I've not even been in the 1 million range, I believe. So, again, hopefully big performance from Mbeumo on tomorrow evening, and then we'll see how it goes. But yeah, 42 points at the moment, and yeah, decent game week, but could have been a bit better.
Wicked. So moving on to obviously my team for game week 10. And yes, similar. It's quite a lot of blanks, not many returns in teams. So let's start off with the goalkeeper, Hermansen. Obviously, no clean sheet for him in that game against Ipswich. It was 1-1. I was kind of hopeful Leicester could keep a clean sheet against them, but it turns out no, it wasn't to be. And only Hermansen got the 2 points for the minutes he played. In terms of defense, again, there was no clean sheet whatsoever from any defender. I was in the hopes of Mazraoui keeping one against Chelsea, but then obviously Chelsea did score the late stages of that game by a nice goal by Caicedo just outside the box. So that clean sheet was wiped from Mazraoui, which he looked really good because he was on 8 points plus the bonus 2. I was quite gutted that he didn't manage to get me a clean sheet. Moving on to the rest of the defenders, obviously Keane conceded they lost to Southampton 1-0, which was a shocking result, and Keane also got a yellow card, which he ends up on 1 point. Aït-Nouri this week didn't manage to get a clean sheet or an attack and return. Instead, he only conceded 2 goals, and because of that, he ends up on 1 point as well. So no success from obviously the Wolves asset at the back. Moving on to defence, a bit more fortune. I'll start with Palmer. He was quite. I think it was very a poor performance. Probably the poorest performance I've seen Chelsea play in the whole of the season so far against Man United. They weren't convincing. Even Palmer himself wasn't at his greatest. But yeah, only 2 points from him. Quite a quiet match. Obviously, Mbeumo plays Fulham away tomorrow, so we have to wait and see how he does against obviously Fulham. So let's move on to Brendan Johnson, who I'm quite happy he did get returned because considering I took out Rodgers for Mbeumo, who also scored as well, I'm quite reluctant, obviously, for Johnson to get on the score sheet, especially when Spurs won 4-1. Only thing I'm gutted is I wish Johnson's got a little bit more from that game instead of just the 1 goal. But I'm happy nonetheless he did score and got the bonus points. Moving on to the next midfielder, obviously that's Salah. And yeah, quite slightly gutted because I didn't captain him, and we saw how that went going with Haaland. But he did get 9 points again. And maybe I should have had more faith in Salah's fixture against Brighton than Man City's one against Bournemouth. But yeah, he got bonus 2, 9 points. Good result for captainers of Salah. And finally, moving on to McNeil, who obviously didn't get any return because Everton didn't score. Only the 2 points. Not really a fan of the Everton assets so far. Their fixtures, which have been easy, have not been convincing in terms of their performances, so they could be on the chopping block. We'll have to wait and see. But finally, moving on to the front two, obviously the disappointment of the week, the captain again, Haaland blanks. And yeah, Man City shockingly lost 2-1 to Bournemouth, which is a massive talk for, I think, of the game week, that result. Very unexpected. I think Haaland had one good opportunity to score, 2 yards away from the goal, but even that he managed to miss. So he only gets the 4 points, obviously captaincy. But a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. We have Chris Wood again. He gets another goal in that 3-0 win over West Ham, and also a bonus 1 point. So yeah, Chris Wood has impressed once again. I think that's 5 goals in the last 4 game weeks from Chris Wood, which in total, that's 8 goals for him this season. So he's become quite a formidable player in terms of his price, 6.5. And yeah, he saved my rank, I think, from being disastrous this week due to his ownership being relatively low compared to the other players on my team. And quickly on the bench, obviously Vardy also plays tomorrow, but he's a non-playing goalkeeper. Robertson obviously plays Brentford at home. And obviously Fire's got no clean sheet. It was wiped, and Wheatley's a non-playing player for Man United forward. But it is a slight red arrow. I think I'm just below 1 point of the safety, although I did take a -4 this week, so I end up on 35 points in total. So bit of a mixed bag. I think if I captain Salah, would have been all right on the green, but because of captaining Haaland and obviously Salah scoring, it's ended on a red arrow for me so far this week. But I still have Mbeumo. It could maybe change it for me.
Okay, so those are our teams, how we've done in Game Week 10. We'll take a few more of your comments. Hi, guys. 51 points with Mbeumo and Raul Jimenez left. Salah captain masterclass. Nice score. 51 points. Very good score for this week, I think. Plus the 2 players left. Yeah, not the end of the world. We've still got 28 weeks. Yep, still early. I think game week 10 now is where, you can sort of start looking at your ranks and taking it a bit more, you know, looking at it a bit more seriously. Because obviously, it's still bunched together. But game week 10 is where I start looking at the ranks more. And, but, it's still early days. A lot of long season. Hi lads, 40 points for me this week so far. Bench Rogers and played Vardy. Still got Mbermo, Raul, and Robertson to play. Pretty certain on my transfers. And Roman, yeah, let us know what transfers you're going to make. I'm keeping my eye on Cardioglu, 4.5 million, and played right wing for the majority of the game. So yeah, I thought he was great against Liverpool. Scored the goal, great finish. Looks like a really good player. So yeah, one to watch for sure if you want a Brighton asset for cheap. Let's to pull up our bus teams for game week 11. So this is currently what my team looks like. Just give me a second. There you go. So in goal, I have David Raya, who's got Chelsea away. Now, Arsenal haven't won a Premier League game in the last 3. Chelsea have just drew to Man United. That's going to be an excellent game, I think, to watch. Should be a good game to watch, I think, because both teams will be looking for the win. Especially Arsenal, I think, is a must-win game for them, especially in regards to the title race. So we'll have to see. I don't really see a clean sheet again, if I'm being honest, for Arsenal. But who knows? I thought Chelsea were pretty poor today. Needed a Caicedo late goal to sort of get the points. They didn't really look like scoring much in that game. 8 Nuri got Southampton at home. Good fixture for him. Good attacking fixture where he could potentially get you a goal and an assist. Lewis, Brighton away. Should come back straight to the 11. I thought, again, Kyle Walker was quite poor. Struggled. So Lewis has to start for me. Gabriel, Chelsea. Again, whether he keeps a clean sheet, I can't really see it. So for this week, we'll have to see how he does. There is that potential, obviously, of a set piece goal with him. But again, the double Arsenal defense hasn't worked so far. It is something that I still think can work. But, from game week 12, 13, when Arsenal fixes turn, because I've had some tough games in a Newcastle, now Chelsea, coming for Arsenal in these tough games. Midfield 4, Mbermo, Palmer, Semenyo, and Salah. Mbermo has a fixture against Bournemouth at home. Bournemouth have been really good, getting wins against Arsenal and Man City, which a lot of us wouldn't have seen coming. But we'll have to see how Mbermo does tomorrow. Again, it could be a good fixture for him. Potentially even, do we captain him? Some people might think, maybe. But I'm not looking at him, but he could do really well against Bournemouth. But again, I want to wait and see what he does again tomorrow night. Palmer has Arsenal. I won't be captaining him in this game, I don't think. I think he'll be quiet for large parts. Obviously, he's always got the quality to open a team up, but I do expect Arsenal to defend him. And look, he's the main man in that team, so definitely I expect Arsenal to keep a close eye on Palmer. But it's a tough game for him. But we know Palmer; he still can get you returns. Semenyo, after his 10 points, I'm going to start him against Brentford away. He plays up against Mbermo, so I'm just going to play both of them and see how it goes. Could be a high-scoring game even, so I'm not fast playing both of them. Salah has Aston Villa at home. I think it's Aston Villa today, where I thought they were very poor, especially near the end, where they sort of capitulated, conceding 4 goals to Spurs. Going to Anfield, they also play Champions League midweek. Aston Villa, they play Bruges, I think it is. And then they play Liverpool, so there's not a lot of rest time. So I think this could be a good game for Salah captaincy guys as well. We know Salah scored against Brighton. Liverpool weren't great for about an hour. So starting off games, Liverpool seemed to be a second half team again. Last couple of games, they play better in the second half. First half's not as good. So one to watch. But I think Salah is a good pick for captaincy this week. Again, it's a home game for him. And we know he's, the main man at Anfield for Liverpool in terms of getting the goals. Up front, sorry. Archer, who I'm not really inspired about having in my team. He was sort of someone that I bought in to play on the bench and every now and then. He's got Wolves away. We'll have to see how he does. Ideally, I would have wanted Cunha. It's just due to finance and money in the bank. I couldn't really get to Cunha. So he's in there. Calvert-Lewin, very frustrating from him, as you guys know. I didn't really want to keep him. I just had to keep him because I didn't have any extra free transfers or he would have been gone. He's got West Ham away. At this point, if you have Calvert-Lewin, I will definitely sell him. It's just, if you can, if you've got the money to go up to Cunha, Jimenez, I think 100%, get rid of Calvert-Lewin. Haaland has Brighton away. Now, Brighton, I thought, were very impressive. For about an hour, they played really well against Liverpool, especially first half. I thought they were much better than Liverpool. So it's not going to be an easy game for Man City. But I still expect Man City to bounce back and win the game because, very rarely do Man City lose back-to-back games, let alone, lose a game. So I do expect Man City to bounce back and win, even though Man City have this season, fair to say they've not been the same team. Haaland, we'll discuss captaincy because as you see on the moment, Haaland's got the captain armband over him. That's what I want to discuss as well. So at the moment, Haaland's got it, but I could easily go Salah as I did in the deadline stream. I wouldn't be surprised if I go Salah, to be fair. He's got the home game as well. And on the bench, I have got Mykolenko, Rodgers, who has Liverpool, and Greaves, who's flagged still. So I will definitely bench Rodgers against Liverpool, even though he did score today. And Mykolenko's West Ham, so I'll probably bench Everton. I'm not keen on playing them at the moment.
The biggest, I think, talking point again, circulating around Haaland is, what do you do with him? Is it now the right time to take him out? Have you lost the faith in Haaland, or do you at least keep him in your team, but possibly not captain him every week now?
I think it depends on captaincy, because I said this with Salah at the start of the season when I never had Salah. If I'm not going to captain a player who costs 15 million, then I don't think there's a point in keeping him. So if you're not going to captain Haaland, then I think he can be a sell. You can justify selling him. Because the reason why we captain Haaland, yes, he can score you a goal or a brace, but it's much more what's the word? Damaging if you don't have him and he's being heavily captained, because it's double the points. I think you can sort of get away if Haaland goes and scores a goal against Brighton and you've not got him, but everyone's captain Salah anyway. You can sort of get away with it. It comes down to captaincy, I think, still. And looking at Haaland's fixtures, you look at his expected goal involvement, still 1.07, which is still a decent numbers, I think. It's good numbers. He should have scored against Bournemouth, it's fair to say. So, next three, Brighton, Spurs, Liverpool. You could captain, I might still go Haaland, so it's one to consider. Against Liverpool in game 13, definitely not captaining Haaland. I'll rather captain the Salah, but I'll probably go someone like Mbeumo in game 13 when he plays, I think it's Southampton. No, sorry, Leicester at home. And then you've also got Palmer. I'm not sure who Palmer has in 13. Palmer has Villa. So, probably Mbeumo. What's your thoughts on Haaland? Are you going to captain him in these games? Are you going to captain him against Liverpool, against Spurs, for example?
Well, the way it's gone so far, because of Haaland blanking in he's had 4 blanks in obviously the last 3 blanks in the last 4 game weeks.
Yeah.
And he getting
no. He's got 1 goal in his last 5 matches. Haaland.
So yeah.
Didn't score against Newcastle, didn't score against Fulham, didn't score against Wolves, scored against Southampton, and he blanked against Bournemouth. That's 1 goal in his last 5 Premier League games. However, he did score 10 goals in his first 5. So the first 5, unbelievable. Since about game week 6, just the 1. Well, since game week 5, I should say, just 2 goals. Obviously, a couple of blanks in there, but he has missed a couple of chances. His goal involvement has been there. Against Wolves, it was probably his poorest game. He wasn't really anonymous sort of against Wolves, but Southampton, he could have had a hat-trick. Yesterday, he could have scored. So what do you make of it in terms of captaincy? Who are you going to be looking to captain Haaland in these tougher games? Or on paper, Spurs at home, Liverpool away, Brighton as well.
I think in these tougher games, you can get away with not captaining Haaland the way it is going through him at the moment. So there is a few injuries that Man City have had, especially Rodri being the most, I think, biggest, obviously downfall to Man City at the moment, because since Rodri's been injured, Man City haven't been the same team. And that's not just Rodri, that's a few players in that squad as well. But I'd say Rodri is the biggest miss in that team. And we've seen the results for Man City in in the last few game weeks. It has been very surprising. Not the same Man City we've seen season after season. So I think, no, you don't necessarily need to captain Haaland in these tough games. And even Brighton, that's still going to be a tough game away from their stadium playing. Obviously, there, it's going to be not easy. I wouldn't be surprised if Man City, in fact, draw that game. It wouldn't surprise me if not win it. It will be a struggle to win it, I think, the way it's going at the moment. So, yeah, I think you can get away with not captaining Haaland in the next 3.
One thing to add as well, we know Kevin De Bruyne was on the bench. I don't know if he came on at all in that game, but him coming back could be positive for Man City and Haaland. We know he does have that link up. He was always looking to feed Haaland. With him back, maybe Haaland gets back to his goal scoring form that we know. But I mean, just very quickly, Gameweek 11, who are you looking to captain with your team right now? I mean, looking at your boss team, just go through the lineup and then who are you looking at captaincy? Because you've got on Haaland at the moment.
Yeah, I haven't moved it. It's still stuck on Haaland. But in goal, I've got Hermanson. He's got Man United away. Again, not sure what to expect from that game. Not expecting much, but will be one to see. Obviously against Leicester again. See what Man United do, and then vice versa. In terms of the back three, I got Mazraoui, who obviously plays against Hermanson. Home fixture for them at Old Trafford. Should be one they should bounce back in, but it's still early days for Man United. It's still not quite there, not convincing. Keane's got West Ham away, and obviously West Ham had a red card from Alvarez at the weekend against Nottingham Forest, so that possibly might affect them against the Everton game. But still, I think it's another good fixture for Everton, which maybe get a clean sheet in because the West Ham have been really poor. And finally, Aït-Nouri, the outstanding fixture of the week, Southampton at home, which you've spoken about. That you would think is a clean sheet for him, maybe possible attacker returns as well.
Could it be Wolves' first win? I believe. I don't think they've won a game, Wolves, have they?
That is true. Yeah, that's actually a good point. They haven't won a game still. They've either drawn or lost so far this season, so they are due for a win somewhere, and that might be the one. Moving on to the midfield, though, we've got Palmer, who has a very difficult fixture against Arsenal at home. Now, I'm not sure what to make of this one because Arsenal, that's a massive loss at the weekend. A massive shocking result to dropping points. Might know tomorrow the title race is slipping under their grasp. So I know Chelsea weren't really that great against Man United, but I do think Chelsea are going to win again against Arsenal. I mean, it's a strong fixture at home for them. Will be one to watch. In Bournemouth as Bournemouth at home, again, I don't think that's an easy fixture because we've seen Bournemouth against Man City. I know it's a home fixture for Brentford, but it seems like Bournemouth are quite a formidable team and maybe underestimated. Johnson, nice fixture against Ipswich at home. We saw them blast 4 goals against Aston Villa earlier on today.
Sorry, guys. I think Jordan's internet's gone again. I'll just take a few of your comments while he's back. Transfer plans. Rodgers to Bowen. I'm not sure about West Ham assets at this moment, Harry, but interesting pick. Davies to Aït-Nouri, Bruno Fernandes captain. Bruno Fernandes could do well, for sure. In the coming games, scored a penalty today. Sorry, Jordan, you went off again. Your internet, I think, just lagged out. So I was taking this comment from Harry, and then I'll let you go again. So yeah, Bruno Fernandes obviously getting a penalty today, got the goal. He could be an interesting option in Man United's coming up fixtures. They do get a couple of nice games against Ipswich, Leicester, so could be an option for Bruno, Garnacho, etc. Højlund even. So one to watch with Amorim now in charge. Sorry, where were you in the midfield? If you just run through your team, your boss team.
Do you know when I cut out in terms of where I spoke about the team?
I think it was Johnson.
Oh, Johnson, yeah. Johnson's a possible captain pick I might look to go for because of that strong fixture he has in terms of the team. But yeah, it's a good fixture for Spurs, I think. Moving on to Salah, the Vice, Aston Villa at home. I think it's a good one for Liverpool. They want to keep top of the table the way it's going. It's going in their favour. And Salah, again, is having a great season so far. And finally, McNeil has West Ham away, which I'm not sure what to make of Everton at the moment because, again, I haven't really got much from McNeil. I think 1 assist since I brought him in, which I was hoping for.
I'd honestly sell every Everton player at this moment in time. I had enough of, DCL, McNeil. I was surprised you didn't get rid of McNeil and keep Rodgers. That's what I would have done. Kept Rodgers and sold McNeil personally.
Yeah, I think it's because of the tough fixtures that Rodgers had.
Yeah.
Because I kind of half expected him to get something out of Spurs, but
yeah, it's like the whole Semenyo thing. Me benching Semenyo, he's just a better player. I should have I feel like made the error not playing Semenyo over Archer, and I just feel like I know McNeil's done quite well in the first couple of games, but I just think Rodgers, what he's shown value, I would have probably kept him instead.
Yeah, it was a tough call because it was between Rodgers or actually Johnson. I didn't really consider McNeil because he had Southampton.
Yeah,
I thought something would come out of that game from that fixture. But yeah, he could be on the chopping blocks in terms of Everton. Up front, I got Haaland, who has Brighton away. And he won't be the captain this week, even though it's on him at the moment, due to where Man City are at the moment. Doesn't seem like they're not quite the team that we've seen before, formidable and obviously dominating. And finally, Chris Wood, who has Newcastle at home, and he's probably been the player in my team that I've been most impressed with, who I've brought in. Like, he's just on fire at the moment. 8 goals so far this season, and 5 goals in the last 4 game weeks. So yeah, there's not really much I can say that can disappoint. Obviously, talking about Chris Wood, because he's currently every game he plays seems to go really well for him. And on the bench, we got Vardy, Marston, non-playing goalkeepers at Bournemouth at home. Robinson has Crystal Palace away. Fies has Man United away. And Wheatley has Leicester at home. Now, in terms of captaincy, obviously I was talking about putting it on Johnson, which, because if I'm honest, he has the best fixture in my team. And in terms of form of the player, he's impressed me the most, especially this game week so far. Or it could be Mbeumo, who has Bournemouth at home. I'll currently put the vice on him for the time being, but he could possibly be the second captain pick I go for. I mean, obviously I could go for Salah, but the way it's going at the moment in terms of my rank, I need to look for a captain who I think will do well in the game week, rather than just go for obviously Haaland again, who's had many blanks and not many obviously returns in the last few game weeks. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at in terms of captaincy. Going different.
Yeah. Going at the comments, even that 6 points against Southampton feels like a blank. Yep, it does for me as a triple captainer. Haaland will score since KDB is back. Johnson as a captain shout in regards to your team.
Yeah.
For captain, either a punt on Johnson or Cunha, or go safe with Salah, as Villa did concede 4 goals to Spurs today. I accidentally transferred out Haaland and DCL for Cunha and Wissa. Is it the end for me? Not necessarily. If you've got Salah, if you've got Palmer, if you've got, even Saka potentially, even though he's got a tough game. Those sort of players, if you've got the likes of Son could do well against Ipswich if he starts. I know he was subbed off early, but he could do really well because with Spurs, it could be Johnson, Son. You don't really know. Solanke could turn up. Got options there. So the wild card not going too great, says Fatality, 41 points with Jimenez and Mbeumo to go. After I wild carded out Vardy, Johnson, Rodgers, and Solanke. Wow, that is a big one. Obviously, Vardy, Johnson, Rodgers, and Solanke all scored this game week. So yeah, that's tough. Should I do Carvalho to Salah for a -4 or just start Rodgers away for Liverpool? I would probably take the -4 if you can get Salah in without a hit. Obviously, ideal. I'm assuming you can't. So yeah, I would rather have Salah, especially if you're going to captain Salah Abdullah. If you want to captain Salah this game week, definitely worth the -4 in my opinion.
Yeah, I wouldn't start Rodgers away at Liverpool. I don't expect much from him in that game. Whereas with Salah, I expect more.
Captaining Mbeumo next week, says Manish. So yeah, some Mbeumo captainers in the chat. Going back to my team, quickly. In terms of what I'm looking at right now, I don't know. I'll have to see how I feel about Haaland. He's got the captain's armband on him at the moment. The other player, if I wasn't to go Haaland, obviously I mentioned Salah against Villa. I thought Villa were quite poor today. And because they're the Champions League game coming up and then Liverpool afterwards, Villa travelling, they could be a bit tired. Who knows? So we'll have to see, because Liverpool also have Champions League midweek against Leverkusen, as it is a Champions League week coming up. But yeah, Burmo is not a bad shout. Bournemouth. If you've got a Spurs player potentially as well, Ipswich, Son, Solanke. Question here from Abdullah: will you sell DCL? I wish I can. I'd love to. If I had the option to go up to Cunha straight away, it will be done even before. I would do it right now. But if you look at my team, this is what I was going to come on to: transfer plans. I've got 0.3 million in the bank and one free transfer. If I was to take out Calvert-Lewin, give me 6.2, which can't really go to anyone, really. The striker I want. I could go. I mean, to be fair, I could just do Raul Jimenez, who's got Palace away.
Yeah.
And that way, I'll get a player in this week without having to take that hit. And he's got also Brentford tomorrow. I'll see what he does against Brentford. If he does really well against Brentford and impresses me, I might bring him in, because he's got Palace, Wolves after that, then Spurs, Brighton, a couple of tricky games in 15 and 16. But I do like him. Longer term, he isn't bad. 11% ownership. So yeah, I've completely forgot about him. I was looking at the one I wanted was Cunha, but because I can't afford Cunha, I think that's my transfer, guys. Raul Jimenez.
Also,
do that.
There is another suggestion that you could go for if you still want a Wolves attacker. There is his teammate, obviously, Strand Larsen, who is cheap at 5.5, and he also did score against Crystal Palace.
Yeah. No, if I was to go Wolves, I would prefer. If I was to go Wolves, I probably would want Cunha. So I'm not gonna bring in Strand Larsen, because I don't want to sort of. I want that spot. Cunha will be coming into my team. It might be next week instead. So 8 Nuri. Obviously, I've got a Wolves player in there. They've got some nice fixtures coming up. Southampton at home, ideally, you'd want a Cunha for that fixture. After that, though, Bournemouth, the way they've been playing, Bournemouth have looked good. Southampton, Everton, West Ham, Ipswich. I do want some coverage. But I think the big elephant in the room is Haaland. Now, if I sold Haaland, I go straight to Cunha. Let's say, for example, I go to... bear with me for a second. Sorry. Go budget. So let's say I do Haaland to Cunha. Right, that gives me 8.9 million in the bank, which is a mad amount. And then I can go Archer up to, if I wanted a Solanke now, I know I've took him out, but if I want him back in, I mean, I don't have to bring him in for 12. He's got Man City away. I could bring him Fulham potentially in this game if I really want him back. So let's say Solanke comes in, I could still have 6.3 million and have a front line of Solanke, Raul, and Cunha. Obviously, Chris Wood is another one who's shown this season. I'm very annoyed at myself for selling Chris Wood on my Game Week 6 wildcard, because he had 3 goals in 6 game weeks, and since I've sold him on the wildcard, he's scored another 5 goals I've missed out on. He's not blank since Game Week 6. He's only had 3 games this season where he hasn't scored, so he's been excellent. 8 goals. I think he's just behind Haaland. He was 6 million at the start of the season. He's now 6.5. However, he does have some tough games coming up against Newcastle and Arsenal, and Man City in 14 as well. Man United, Villa. Maybe isn't the time to jump on Chris Wood at the moment, but the way he's playing, don't rule it out. I'm interested to see how he does in these tougher games. So he's been impressive, but I could avoid him just due to the fixtures and go with Jimenez this week anyway. That's what I'm probably going to do. Raul Jimenez in this week, and then Cunha, Solanke, and take Haaland out. Again, taking out Haaland, I'm not sure I'm committed doing it yet, but that's something I am looking at. I'm not against selling Haaland.
Yeah, because the thing you got to weigh up is once you take out Haaland and reshape the team, it'll take a few game weeks to bring him back in.
Yeah.
If you see a change of form, obviously from Haaland, might not happen. Where it's going for Man City, but that is one to consider. You have to reshape the whole team around Haaland. Because obviously his price, it's not easy to bring him back in.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. If I sell Haaland, then get him back in. And when would you want him back in terms of captain pick? Where you're looking at it? I mean, I'm not going to captain him in the next 3. I don't think. Forest, the way they've been playing. I mean, who's got a nice fixture in Gameweek 14? I mean, who's Salah got in 14? He's got Newcastle away, so that's a tough game. Liverpool. We know Newcastle do make it tricky. Palmer, 14 has Southampton away, so you're probably going to captain Palmer anyway in Gameweek 14. Gameweek 15, Salah has Everton away, the Merseyside derby, but Haaland has Palace away, so you probably want to captain Haaland in Gameweek 15. But the next 4, arguably, you could get away not captaining Haaland. Then after that, Man United at home. You know he likes to play against United, but again, it's a Manchester derby, so it's a big game.
Funny. Yeah. I mean, it also depends on how Man City managed those next 5 games, because we've seen their results from obviously Bournemouth just now, and we've seen how teams like Nottingham Forest have been playing at the moment. Even those teams, outcoming for Man City could be very difficult for them.
Yeah, let us know what you guys are doing, guys. Haaland owners in the chat, like us, we both own Haaland. Are you selling Haaland? Are you keeping him? Let us know. My only setback this season is captaincy. I always have faith on Haaland, says Abdullah. Transfers I'm looking into doing is Vardy and Van der Ven to Cunha and 5.1 defender. Already have 8 Nuri. Who would you recommend? Defenders under 5.1. I'm trying to see what players there are.
Yeah, there's quite a couple of them.
Sorry, let me have a look. Go defenders. Let's do 5. Defenders under 5. Aina, 8. It was a 15-pointer from Aina. Yeah. Clean sheet. I think he got 3 bonus as well.
Yeah.
He's right up there, but fixes do turn now, so I probably would avoid him. But again, another player I had on Gameweek 1, and I got rid of him. Bit annoying, but I probably would have benched him anyway if I had him. But 15-pointer for him. Luka Dean, probably not. He's back playing, but I don't think I'd go there. Keane, I'm not keen on Everton, on their players, but I think he's on 4 yellow cards as well, so 1 away from a suspension. Davies, again, what a goal. If you didn't see that goal, lovely finish from him. Couple of tough games, but after that, there is a bit of a green run. Who would you go for under 4.5? Mazraoui's could be a decent option now with Amorim there.
Yeah, I was about to say a Man United defender may not be a bad idea, because even though Man United aren't convincing in terms of their football, they sometimes manage to get a clean sheet in games. And I did like how Mazraoui was playing a lot forward in some of the parts of that Man United game as well. So he does have sort of attacking threat to go with it. So maybe at Man United, that wouldn't be a bad idea in defence.
Yeah. Milos Kerkez is another player that played really well over the weekend, getting 2 assists against Man City. Thought he had a brilliant game. Maybe not someone we're looking at. Those were his first attacking returns of the season. But, at 4.4 is a good option, I think, as well. Robinson had a good start to the season, but I probably would avoid Robinson at this moment in time. Fixtures are there for the next 3 at least. If you own him, you're definitely playable. Livramento doesn't have the attacking threat, I think, but again, another player that had a really good game. But yeah, in terms of defenders, it'll probably be, someone like a Mazraoui or a Leaf Davies. Veltman, again, just not attacking potential in these players, I don't think.
No.
So you want to go for someone. 8 Nuri, definitely, obviously, you've got him already, but he's one that, at those 4.5 million defenders, under 5 million, he's right up there.
Yeah, for me, it's either a Man United defender or even not even though Nottingham Forest have difficult fixtures, I still think they're worthy still of obviously owning.
Yep.
Just in case, because I am impressed with their defensive work so far this season.
Yeah, Roman also mentioning Dallo Mazraoui potentially.
Yeah.
The issue is many dead teams have him as perma cap, so you might end up with a lower rank than them if he scores a couple hat tricks again. In terms of the Haaland issue, keeping Haaland, he'll bang again, and as Jordan said, it won't be easy to bring him back. Yet, one thing to consider: if you do sell Haaland, bring him back in, you may need 2 transfers. So bear that in mind, guys. 10k in the world with 4 transfers and a wildcard remaining, says Pranav. So having an excellent start to the season, and you're in a good position if you've got 4 free transfers. So fair play. Time to remove Wood. Opinions?
Oh, no.
I wouldn't remove Wood if I had him right now.
No way.
For the next game. I got the wrong Wood. Forwards. I wouldn't remove him before he plays Newcastle still. I would keep him. Former Newcastle player, going back to Newcastle. I would keep him. See how he does. Again, give him these fixtures because he's on form. I wouldn't want to sell him. If he has a 3 or 4 blanks in a row, then maybe, but I personally would keep him still because he's shown in the season so far. I mean, he's consistently scoring. I know they've had a decent fixture run. They've not really played. I mean, they have not played the big 6 teams. I mean, to be fair, they played Chelsea. He got a goal against Chelsea. He played Liverpool, got a blank. So he's done well. So I wouldn't be removing Chris Wood if I had him.
No, as a Chris Wood owner, I mean, I look at those fixtures, but to me, it doesn't match the quality of the way Wood is playing at the moment. A player that's on form, I won't be taking out the team, even against those tough fixtures, because Nottingham Forest, that's the best I've seen Nottingham Forest play in ages. I've not seen them play like this. So
they've had a very good start to the season. Been impressed with with their even the defensive sort of numbers since the manager's come in. Forgot his name for a second. Nuno.
I think as well they're 3rd in the table, so they're above Arsenal and Chelsea. Yeah, Chelsea and Arsenal are below Nottingham Forest currently. At the moment. Still
very impressive.
That's a good place to be.
Sold Haaland already. Even if he scores, he's not worth it for 15.4 million, says Ezra. I'd rather have Saka, Palmer, Salah, Solanke, or Jackson with Wood and Raul much better. Interesting. Or maybe that's something I'm looking at potentially as well, just to fix up the forward line. Because I really want Salah and Palmer in my team as well. Kunde's fixes are good too. Last season, I ended 8 million in the world, and today I am 1st in your league. I took a minus 64 by mistake last season. Pranav. Now, brilliant start to the season, Pranav. Hopefully, you can stay up there as well. Would be, top of our league as well. So fair play. I'm done with Haaland. Getting rid of him this game week, says Krosberg.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, he will be the most transfer that player I think this game because of frustration from his blank and near miss.
Last season, I finished 1.5k in the world and think won this league. Yep, I think I remember. Welbeck is doing great against the big 6-2. Almost scored a free kick. Great Barclay strikers, both Wood and Welbeck. Yeah, Welbeck did nearly score a great free kick against Liverpool, just wide of the post. Current season, 380k. Again, not a bad place to be, I think, at this stage of the season, very early. In terms of my moves, if I want to play it safe, I think I'm just going to do Calvert-Lewin to Raul Jimenez, which is what I'm probably going to do, Calvert-Lewin to Raul Jimenez. However, I want to see, I probably will give Haaland the Brighton game, but if Haaland doesn't do it against Brighton, we'll have to see it. But I am sort of against taking Haaland completely out. If I was to take Haaland out, I'll probably bring in someone like a Solanke and then Saka. I know Saka hasn't been ideal. Arsenal haven't been great in terms of the attacking potential. But if I was to have that much money in the bank when you sell Haaland, it would be Saka that I'm looking at. But Jimenez makes sense to me for my structure at the moment. Well, and what would you do if you're me, Jordan, in terms of the moves? I mean, I can't afford Cunha, so I would have went there.
Yeah, for me, I'll still go towards Strand Larson, if I'm honest. Okay. Even though if I can't get Cunha this week, I still want to try and get his teammate because both of them, they've both scored 4 goals and 1 assist, so they're evens in terms of attack and return. And I feel like maybe against Strand Larson can get one behind the net against Southampton.
What's his minutes like? To be fair, he's pretty decent on minutes. Back-to-back 90 minutes. Goal involvement is up there.
Yeah, he is getting the minutes. I think it's either him or Whistler.
I just feel like if I went with Strand Larson, I just know Cunha is going to outscore him by a mile. Same was happening with Wood. I feel like he's the one to go for, but you never know. Maybe you are right. Maybe I should go Strand Larson and because everyone's going to be going Cunha.
Yeah,
right.
That's it. Yeah, it's more of a differential going for the other player,
and just pray he outscores because his underlying numbers are actually better than Cunha's in terms of expected goals.
And he did outscore in this game, scoring the goal and Cunha assisted.
Yeah, scored against Man City as well. Scored against Brentford. Scored against Chelsea. You know what? Maybe I do go Strand Larson just due to the fact that I can't afford Cunha, and it could work out for me long term as well. So, I mean, let's say Calvert-Lewin, Strand Larson. Who would you guys go for? Raul Jimenez or Strand Larson? Let us know because I can't afford Cunha. Do you guys think it's a good deal? I'd consider DCL to Wissa. Double. I really want a different player. I don't want a double Brentford because I've got Mberma already, Dan the man. But yeah, Wissa's a decent option as well. If lots of transfers out for Haaland, doesn't that make you want to keep him in the differential? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I don't think there'll be that many. I think a lot of people are saying it out of frustration, but when it comes close to the deadline, I don't think there'll be that many moving him out. But yeah, there will be a few that have had enough of Haaland, but we'll see.
I think it will gradually, Haaland will lose obviously ownership over time, but it'll be very slow. If he keeps blanking, obviously the more transfers he has out every week, but because he's had lots of chances, well, he could have scored last game week and had two before that game week beforehand. There's chances still there for Haaland. Maybe a lot of people are still keeping the faith in him, maybe not captain him, but still have him in the team.
Other than he blanks having Haaland and captaining him everyone, I feel like I'm dependent on him. Didn't quite get that one, Ezra. My front line is Wood, Welbeck, and Haaland. Should I kick Erling out for Palmer, Saka, and bring Wissa, Cunha? That's the question. I was in your boat, and I sold Saka to get Salah. So it's very hard to have all of them. I think Palmer's one you want. But as we said with Palmer, you probably didn't want to bring him in before he played Liverpool. He blanked against Liverpool, done well against Newcastle. You look at Palmer's fixtures. He's got big scores against Wolves, Brighton, obviously double-digit haul against Newcastle. So he's sort of a player that when he goes big, he seems to go very big, but he's not going to do it in every game. So it's just one of those. I think I still want him in my team. I just think against Leicester, he might score you a hat-trick. He's one of those players. Against Arsenal, I actually expect a blank from him against Arsenal, but we'll see. Because obviously with Palmer now, last season we saw an excellent season, but now a lot of more eyes on him. People know what player he is. He's not unknown anymore. There will be more teams trying to, as we know with Haaland, even Saka. Once you do really well, again, teams sort of will try and nullify you as the main man.
I think it'd be a better option next game week after this when he has Leicester, and then obviously the fixtures swing completely for Palmer, and that's probably the right time to bring him in your team rather than him this week against Arsenal, where you can find a better player with a better fixture.
Yeah, going back to the Haaland stuff as well. In terms of taking Haaland out, you got to ask yourself, who does it allow you to bring in? In my case, taking out Haaland will allow me to have Saka and Solanke. Now, is Solanke and Saka are the two better than having Haaland and a Semenyo? Whatever. That's the question.
At the moment, it's not looking too obviously great for obviously Haaland being in the team without having obviously two players from him if you do sell him. But I do agree with Fatality with that obviously comment as well.
Risk appetite. Risk is too high as well. Rather just go against him just go against him captaincy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with this comment, especially that last bit. I'd rather go against him than captain.
But then playing devil's advocate, for a player you're not willing to captain who costs 15 million, then it comes to the question: is he worth 15 million if you're not going to captain him, and you're afraid he's going to blank when you're spending 15 million on a player, which is a lot of money? Because you get rid of him, you can build a really nice team on paper. Have Saka, you can have Solanke, you can have you can have a pretty good squad. Like even on a bench, you can have a really good player. So, yeah, right now, I mean, I've gone back and forth with the Haaland thing. I think when the dust settled, I'll probably keep him.
Yeah.
Because I still think Haaland's a much better pick than obviously having a Saka in the team. I know Solanke done well today, but I sold Solanke out of frustration as well because he hadn't had a shot. He had one shot in the last 3 games, so Solanke could go another 3 games without scoring. So
yeah,
and then we'll all say, oh, why do we, because the people that have Solanke in their teams aren't doing well. Let's be real. Even myself, like with my rank, having held Solanke for this long, he has damaged my rank when there's Chris Wood and there's other players doing really well. Jimenez.
Yeah, that was scored in between those
Yeah.
blanks.
Yeah.
That is going to be the big question, obviously. The Haaland. I think a lot of us are biased, especially for the non-Haaland loans at the start of the season, where we didn't have them for the first 4 game weeks. I think that's where the biased opinion comes into it, because if we do it again, take him out, reshape the team around non-Haaland again, and then somehow he finds form, scores a hat-trick, scores 2 goals again, then it's a rebound effect again.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, what have you watched? Did you watch the last game, Man City against? Did you watch on the weekend?
Yeah, I did watch the game at the weekend.
Okay, the full game. I only watched the highlights personally, but yeah. What did you think of City? Because I thought they were quite poor against Wolves. Obviously, against Southampton, they should have had a couple more. Newcastle, they did struggle. They're definitely not the same team. That's fair to say.
No.
The defensively is where it's worries as well with them. Like they're much more open now. But what do you think it is with Haaland not getting the? Do you think it's Haaland finishing, or do you think chance creation, or going with KDB's back potentially now as well?
Yeah, I think it's a big. Well, KDB didn't play in that game, unfortunately. He was benched that whole entire match. But if he did come on, maybe that did change things for obviously Haaland, obviously that game, because it wasn't going anywhere. I feel like because of the injuries as well, that's affected Man City. They have a long injury list. And also, there's no one that looks at Haaland to pass the ball to him. I've only seen Foden do that, really. No other player has really looked at Haaland and thought, let me pass it to him, let me cross the ball to him, let me pass the ball through so he can get a goal. But no, we haven't seen any of that. I've only seen that from KDB and Foden. So maybe there's a turnaround for KDB next game week if he does start.
Okay. Just on the screen, I've put a table up of understat. Now, unfortunately, if you can somehow, I know it's cropped, so you can't really see it. If you can change the layout, there you go.
Yeah, that's better.
Hold on. So hopefully you guys can see that. This is just a table of the league at the moment, but I want to look at the expected columns. Now, again, I can't really show this bit because it's on the other side, but I'll read it out, guys. Hopefully you guys can also Google it, understat the website. Man City, they've had an expected goal of 21.27. So they are actually sort of on par, in terms of the chance of they should have expected to score 21 goals, and they have scored they've scored 21 goals, Man City, and they would have been expected to score 21. Liverpool have scored 19, but they would have been expected to score 21 from the chances they've had. So Liverpool's slightly underperforming XG, which isn't, I don't think, a bad thing necessarily. We don't want to be massively overperforming your XG. Wolves are a team that are at the moment overperforming XG over by 3. I think they've had an XG of 10, but they've only scored underperforming. They've scored 14 goals, and they've XG of 10. So overperforming by 10. Looking at defensive stats as well. I mean, you are on the sort of saying about premium defenders and getting rid of premium defenders. I agree. One player I do want to talk about is Trent Alexander-Arnold as well, because obviously he's the most expensive defender in the game. At the start of the season, I had him in my team. I've taken him out now due to the budget reasons and not being able to sort of afford the midfielders I want. I think it's safe to say you don't have to have a Trent at the moment. Would you say that's the case?
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, it's because no premium apart from Guardiola and Gabriel this season have really been
Well,
worth
even
having.
Gabriel, really. I mean, last couple he's
Well, yeah,
not really done anything. Vardiol's
no,
the one outlier, sort of getting the goals.
yeah, because Gabriel's had 3 clean sheets and 2 goals, and that's it. Guardiola
Yeah.
3 goals, 1 clean sheet, or 2 clean sheets, I think, for him. So
Yeah.
they, in terms of premiums, they're probably the most successful ones we've had. And does it
Yeah.
seem worth it for that money that they're worth to keep them in your team?
Yeah. Also, guys, if you're in the chat, please do like the stream. There's quite a few of you in here. Hit the like button. Make sure I subscribe to the channel as well, and hit that notification bell. Latino says, "Yeah, get rid of premium defenders, guys. Invest the money in attacking assets," which is what we're sort of saying. Don't think it's worth spending that money on a premium asset right now in defense. I'd rather spend it on a Palmer or a Salah, trying to fit Haaland in if you can, etc. Even though some people might still be on the premium defenders. Let us know your thoughts. Going to the defensive stats, we know Liverpool and Nottingham Forest have sort of had the strongest defensive so far this season. Liverpool have only conceded 6 goals in 10 games. Next best defense is Forest, 7 goals conceded in 10.
Interesting.
Liverpool should have expected to concede 9, right? From expected goal against, they should have conceded 9 from the chances of conceded. However, they've only conceded 6, so 3 over performance. Nottingham Forest should have conceded 11 from their expected goals involvement, 11.3, but they've conceded 7. Chelsea are interesting. Conceded 12, should have conceded 15. So again, they are overperforming their numbers. Arsenal want to watch because they've conceded 11 goals in 10. Expected goal against 13.27. So again, another team that over sort of perform. Nottingham Forest is plus 4 at the moment. Man City +1, so they're thereabouts what you'd expect. But yeah, in terms of defense, clean sheets aren't really happening for most teams. I think most teams are conceding, and even Trent this season, going on Trent again, I think he's not playing as further forward as we've seen with Klopp. I think he's sort of a different sort of role now with Slot. He's a lot more. He's not going forward as much. Anyway.
And do you think, obviously, because this is a massive issue as well, the amount of fixtures teams are playing midweek, especially like for example Liverpool, they're playing every 3 days. Do you think that has a massive effect as well in terms of clean sheets for teams, that the players are playing too much football, and then obviously tiredness, fatigue playing factor as well as injuries?
Yeah, of course. If playing every 3 days isn't easy. I think Aston Villa are a team that will definitely feel the effects of that, I should say, playing every 3 days. I think Liverpool, the likes of Man City, even Arsenal now, slightly more used to it. I think Aston Villa will struggle this season personally. In the league, I think we've already seen it. The 4-1 loss today, because playing every 3 days for a team like Aston Villa that haven't done it recently is a big sort of step. So we'll have to see what Villa do, but one to watch because obviously Champions League, cups, Liverpool through as well to the next round. Man City are knocked out the Carabao, so that's one less double game week for potentially triple captainers for Haaland in the future. Man City are out the cup.
Yeah, I think that was tactically the way they wanted that to go, because they played the weakest team they possibly could. That's one less competition for them to do. So that's more rest time, more period for them to focus on other competitions and not bother about the Carabao Cup.
Haaland looks tired towards the end of the matches. Rodgers gets subbed off earlier as well. Haaland is like a London bus. When one is late, 2 or 3 will come soon after, which I sort of do agree with. I think he can go and score, 2 against Brighton easily, and will all be. I mean, I hope he does. Especially if I hold on to him. But maybe the morale right now with the Haaland, it's not there, the faith. But You know, he did score 10 goals in his first 5, and it looked like he was going to be perma-cap for the season, which this has made it interesting now, actually. Haaland not doing well because people will go against him.
Yeah, and start to go against him again. I mean, at the start of the season, because of his price as well being 50 million, a lot of us were 50-50 on worth having Haaland in our team at that price. Could we go about him, spread the money about? And now we're talking again in this situation. Can we go about Haaland again at that price he is because of his form dropping?
United XG 17 goals and we've scored 9. Says Roman. I mean, let's have a look at United. I'm not sure. Let's see United. United have scored 9 goals. Yeah, man. Expected goals. They should have scored 17. So it's an underperformance of 8. So yeah, it's poor finishing. And it was sort of the opposite for Man United last season, where it was defensively. But Man United have conceded. Man United's defense, on the other hand, though, again, Man United have conceded 12, but they should have conceded 18. So again, Man United, we know with United, it's been a terrible, terrible start to the season.
Yeah.
We thought last season couldn't get any worse. It has. You know, I think Ten Hag, I think it's fair to say that, you know, it was the right decision. We should see an improvement from Man United now, I think. Getting back up there.
As a Man United fan, I do pray and hope of that. Because it's looking a bit dire at the moment. But maybe just like the end of the tunnel of our new manager now. Coming in next game.
I mean, that is actually shocking for Man United when I look at this numbers. Very high either way. They've scored way more than they scored way less than they should have, and they've conceded way more than they should have. So, not surprised.
But, I mean, today, Garnacho potentially could have scored a hat-trick. The amount of pretty good chance that he had today, they should be in the back of the net.
Yeah. Latina match today was with Chelsea was boring. Is Vardy considered premium? Sort of, I'd say so. 6 million. He's 6 million plus, ain't he? So around that 6 million plus sort of territory. I mean, obviously Trent is the sort of the main premium, but anyone above 6 million right now is sort of the premium, I'd say.
Probably only premium I'd pretty much consider bringing or having at the moment, because the way he's scoring goals is like he's playing as a midfielder rather than a defender.
How many goals has he got now?
I think that's his 3rd goal now of the season. Could be.
Feels like he scored a lot more than that.
It does feel like more.
So 3 goals. He scored against Wolves, Bournemouth. That's 2 goals in his last 3. Scored against Newcastle. So 3 goals in his last 5. He's playing every game. I think he's a good pick still. Maybe not for clean sheets. I wouldn't be bringing him in, I don't think, with the fixtures they've got coming up. But for those that have him, you know, fair play for getting those returns from him. I think that's it, guys, for this stream. Anyway, we will be back again on Thursday. So we got a Game Week 11 podcast on Thursday. So do tune in for that. Slight change of content, the way we do it. It should be a good one. I'm looking forward to it. If you've enjoyed the content, guys, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you know when we go live. It's been a mad weekend of football, especially if you're a Liverpool fan. Couldn't have gone any better. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Hopefully you got the green arrows. Obviously, there's still one game to go tomorrow. So we'll see what Mbermo and Co can do. And anything else you'd like to add, Jordan?
Yeah, thank you. Obviously, all those watching. It's always appreciated. And good luck for tomorrow if you do have assets left for the Brentford and Fulham game. Should be a good Monday night football game to watch. But until then, enjoy the weekend. We'll see you Thursday for the new stream, obviously schedule. But until then, take care.
Yep, take care.